Welcome back to Paranormal Perspective. I'm John Lorden, and joining me as always,
Christy Arnhart.
This is the show where Christy does the research looking into a paranormal or paranormal adjacent topic. She presents the information to not only me, but a live stream audience that is watching this show. We put a question to them, essentially, is it paranormal or is it not? And all I have a chance to do is sometimes some on-the-fly research, kind of as she's going through the story here. But I'm trying to kind of point it the other way. So she's on the paranormal side every single time.
Every time.
Most of the time I'm over on the other side of the spectrum, but there's been a handful of episodes where I have to jump over and admit that there's some strangeness that I don't have a reasonable answer for. So is it going to be one of those cases? Yeah, it does happen. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be discussing energy vampires.
Energy vampire. Interesting.
Yes.
Are we just talking about like people in your lives that can suck the energy out of you? Because I've met many of them.
We are. And we're
Okay.
talking about people who know what they're doing and do it intentionally.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's got to be it's to a supernatural degree though, right? It's not just like
yes,
this guy's a jerk.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's supernatural.
Gotcha. And what's the question we're putting to the audience?
Do EVs, which is short for energy vampires, use psychological or superhuman means to suck your energy out?
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to go with the superhuman and then leave it yes or no. Superhuman means. Do EVs use superhuman means, yes or no? Okay. Tell us all about it.
Well, unfortunately, this is my attempt at doing a vampire show. I love vampires, the traditional blood-drinking vampires, but I feel like I'm setting myself up to lose if I do that because there's so many good arguments against their non-existence that, yeah, I just don't want to take that hit right now.
Well,
So
it's interesting because I guess from a paranormal perspective, maybe, but I mean, there are people that call themselves vampires, right? Like that's
Yeah, but that's a subculture of people. They're not actually immortal beings that can exist only at night,
okay. Gotcha.
which just makes me sad. It really does. So, speaking of energy vampires, it's kind of a blanket term, and I think most of us can name someone in our life that they consider to be an energy vampire, whether it's family, friends, co-workers. It gets bad. So no matter what these people say or do when they're around, you're exhausted by the time they walk away. Some people use this to rile you up through psychological means. I guess they enjoy the drama of it. Other people can actually harvest this energy from you. They literally take it, good, bad, they take that energy from you, and that's why you feel so exhausted. And those are the ones that I'm focusing on today.
You're not going to talk about an ex, are you? Like an ex of you?
No, I'm not. And you would think that would really fit right in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, just running that scenario by most people, I think everyone could probably look at their romantic history specifically and be like, oh my God, that one person that I was with, that like you wake up in the morning and you're just like, oh, they're still here. Like,
It's like, what do they want from me today?
Yeah.
I know. Now, I've known people in my life who take energy from others, but they don't do it maliciously. A lot of them don't even realize they're doing it. They don't do it intentionally. These are the kind of people that like to be in crowded places when things are happening. It's like they can just absorb the excitement from the crowd. Nothing wrong with that. And I have no problem with it. But we're talking about the ones that leave you a husk. Does anybody, were you all watching the sci-fi or in the 2000s, 2010s sci-fi channel? Because I watched it all the time.
Yeah.
And they had this deal on there where they had these different supernatural creatures come on there, and they had like contestants come on there, and they all stayed in this house together and competed in a contest, if I'm remembering right, because it's a long time ago now.
Oh,
And
yeah. No, I'm not familiar with that.
oh yeah, I remember they had an actual vampire professed, and they also had an energy vampire. And the energy vampire was a lady named Michelle Belanger. So I don't
Okay.
know if anyone knows that or recognizes that name, but yeah,
Hmm.
she was very prolific. She still practices today, and she's got her own website. It's Michelle Belanger, BELANGER.com.
Are you talking about this person?
She, I'm talking about this person.
Okay.
Hmm.
She's an energy vampire. So she literally
Yes.
just sucks the will for you to live.
Well, she doesn't do that. I'll get into the different kinds here in a minute.
Okay.
Michelle, Michelle actually, through willing victims, will take energy from them. And then they rest and come back. And yeah, she just
What?
like places her hands on them. Yeah.
Okay.
Sucks that
Okay.
energy out. She
Wow.
does. You can go to her
Okay.
website and read her books on the subject. Nowadays, she doesn't really market herself as an energy vampire. Now it's more like, I can manipulate energies and feel them around me. And
Well,
she
it would be marketable if it was like, hey, I've been dealing with this really negative energy for a long time, or like some form of depression. Can you isolate that and remove it from me? But outside of something like that, I don't see like who would sign up for like, oh yeah, go ahead, suck the energy out of me and I'll see you next week.
there's all kinds of people in this world,
Yeah, I guess
and I
so.
will leave it at that.
Yeah.
Actually, Michelle may be able to lift that off of you because you can also, for a small monthly fee, pay for Zoom calls where she will mentor you and help you.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Well, will she join my Matrix cosplay group? Oh, apparently she will.
that's my favorite.
We need a new Trinity. I lost our
Oh,
last Trinity. An energy vampire took her out, so we need another one. Okay, good.
here we go. Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched her a lot, and I didn't really think about someone in my life being like this. Well, I was a little young then, and since then I've met them. You're going to find a lot of narcissists in this category.
Okay.
And it's narcissistic energy vampires is what they're called. They're self-centered, they lack empathy, and they're constantly seeking admiration and attention. Okay?
God, you are talking about an ex of mine.
It could be. Seriously, I'm telling you, I've met these people. Ugh.
Okay.
So the EVs refer to people whose influences, again, leave them feeling exhausted, unfocused, and depressed. It's like you can never quite get on your feet around these people.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several different ways that they do this. They play the victim. And thank you, verywellmind.com, for these as well.
Mm-hmm.
They can play the victim. Every day's a new sob story. It's always because somebody slighted them and nobody else knows what they're talking about. They're like, oh, we didn't see that. We were there, right? They always act innocent. The world's against them. Nothing is their fault. And they complain about it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exhausted just reading that. Now keep in mind, these people do this intentionally. You find people in the world who are just this way. They need to change. They need to grow up. But these people use these tactics to get certain responses from you so they can take that energy from you. The criticizer. We've all known a criticizer. Nothing's good enough. They criticize everything in this world and in the universe. I'll get to this one.
Okay.
So nothing's ever good enough for them either, and they will find fault with everything. Those people will just drag you right down. The dramatizer. They're always in the middle of a huge major drama. Something big's happening and they have to have your help. Every day, something different. Oh, but I can't. I just have to have your help. You have the manipulator. The manipulator is able to manipulate just about any situation to their advantage. And they rarely say what they mean. When you try to confront them, when you're talking to them, they've always got some hidden agenda that they're holding back from you back there. We have the negative thinker. Now, A lot of people are negative, like my husband. I'm a glass is half full. He's glass might as well be empty and we might as well be dead. John, there's a reason I call him my little darkling. He's very Scorpio negative that way.
Hmm.
But these people, I mean, they just have a negative attitude toward life itself. They always point out the downside. They will make it so that when you come, before you even get into the situation you're headed to, there's no hope. I mean, they have sucked all the hope out of you. You just turn around and leave. And the last one is the blamer. Some people are quick to blame on others, and they're never at fault, but they're always willing to hand out all of that guilt and shame because you did so badly. Oh my God. It's just,
Hmm.
how do you live? Oh my God. They're so awful. So that's a group of those people. These people will severely and emotionally impact your life. The type of negativity that they're always prodding to get out of you doesn't just leave you mentally exhausted, it leaves you bodily exhausted. I've known people that kept me on edge so much that my health tanked.
Hmm.
And it really became a choice of I've got to get this person out of my life or they're going to kill me. I have the answers though.
Okay.
I can tell you exactly how to get rid of these people, exactly how to get rid of their influence, because a lot of them are so negative. It's like they drag this darkness around with them, and they leave that smudge on you. And you have to clear your energy. You have to get rid of it. And science, which of course science agrees on all of this. The only thing they don't agree on is the fact that some people are able to actively take energy from others for their own need. They realize that there are people with mental illnesses and things like that that fit these situations and they will just drag you down. But I'm telling you, somebody who knows what they're doing, it's just terrible. So, are you ready to hear how to cleanse this from your energy?
Hmm. Yeah, because
Okay.
everything that you've described currently, like, Chris is noting, pessimism isn't vampirism.
Mm-mm.
And even to the point that you were just making about, well, it's, there is no science to show that they actually gain energy by taking it from someone else. In my experience of people of that nature, they actually do. There's some type of lift that they get from being that way
Mhm.
with you, or a mechanism of controlling the situation that they're in that gives them a lift, because then they're feeling powerful in some way, even though it might not come across as happiness, or you might not see it express in that way.
Mhm.
There is certainly, I think, a level of comfort that gets raised when they know they're controlling the room because of being that way. I do think that there is a transfer of energy that happens around that. I think that there is a person that, yeah, you've got someone telling you what an idiot you are. That's basically a backhanded compliment to them of, I'm smarter than this person. That's why I have to tell them what an
Mhm.
idiot they are. So, but that's
Oh
why I'm
yeah.
looking forward to hearing the methods, because I'm looking for an endpoint for where does this, become supernatural.
Well, for me, the supernatural part is the part where people realize they can actively harvest this and they go about their daily lives, setting up situations that gives them the energy that they need.
Mhm. Okay.
That's to me, that's where it gets into the supernatural because not everyone even believes that we have the type of auras and energy that we have from our bodies, let alone that somebody could take your energy from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a specific kind. Now, if you ever run into one of these people, and even after they've left, that smudge of their existence will not wear away. You can always keep those negative influences out with salt. You can put salt, your doorways, your windows, stuff like that to ward evil in your home. You can do that in your house too. You can put wards on your home, and you can even carry protective charms with with yourself, whether it's stones or herbs or whatever you want to do. Self-care is so very important. It's never just psychological or mental, it's spiritual too. You have to take care of yourself. So, and the easiest way to do that is just take baths. A lot of people do this. A relaxing bath is the best thing in the world. Now, where science starts to differ for me is right here. When you take your cleansing bath, it's not just to refresh you and you're like, oh, okay, I've had some quiet time and I feel better. No, you've got to go deeper than that. So, what you're going to do before you even get in the bath, just step into the shower and wash your body off so that there's no excess dirt or anything like that coming off of you. Run your bath and put pink Himalayan salt in there. And when you get in, submerge yourself from head to toe. The pink Himalayan salt helps to draw out negative energy. If you want to put a little extra oomph on it, pick up some Florida water. Florida water is one of the weirdest things I've come across yet.
My mind is just racing right now. Hold on a
know.
second. You know what the Florida man does in the water, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
Tell me about this.
Luckily,
Tell me about this water.
Well, luckily, Florida man's not touching this water.
Oh, okay.
Because it's actually an alcohol-based essential oil concoction that's inspired by the Fountain of Youth. And because the Fountain of Youth was thought to be in Florida, you get Florida water.
Okay.
You can use it in rituals. You can use it in cleansing. And in a case like this, if you'll just throw a little bit in your bath water, it'll help to cleanse that negative energy too. And they say you can't ever place the smell of Florida water, but it's comforting. It's from something in your history, maybe your childhood, that you can't place it, but it's comforting. That means it's working.
Okay.
Now, the last thing you can do, well, one of the last things you can do while you're in your bath, I like to throw flowers in. I like to keep rose petals and herbs and throw them in there because it makes it smell good. It makes you feel good. It's all pretty. Take some white flowers, any kind, and toss them in with you. The white flowers draw off the negative energy and they help to cleanse it. And you can just throw them away when you're done. Use your stones. Use your crystals. Anything like that. You can use anything that's going to defend against evil, anything that's going to help cleanse you. Rose quartz, selenite, all of those, amethyst, you can use all of those to help protect yourself and cleanse yourself. All of them have to be washed after use to cleanse the negative energy off, except for the selenite. That one actually degrades in water, so you don't wash it. It renews itself. So and this is something too, this one dips a toe back into science, because if you're able to, you need to learn how to shield yourself. And it sounds so mystic and whatnot, and it's really not. It's a way of drawing your energy closer to yourself and keeping other people from leaving this ickiness on you. And it's not hard to do. Just a little meditation, maybe thinking about it, concentrating, things like that will help you bring it up. And even in science, they're like, this goes into the boundaries section. You know, you have to shield yourself mentally and physically. So for me, yeah, I'd go with the flowers, the crystals, the Florida water.
Yeah. Shauna also recommended saging your house. I wind up saging my house whenever they leave. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I know I had a friend, just got into a lot of trouble, stayed with me for a couple of weeks. And even after they left, I would see things out of the corner of my eye. And it was always black figures, not like people, sometimes just blobs. It really reminded me of a lizard because I would see it out of the corner of my eye. I'd see it crawling along the wall, but it'd be gone when I'd look at it. I had to go through and smudge. And after I went and burnt sage and did all that, I haven't had any problems ever since. But that was starting to get on my nerves. I was like, this is creepy and I don't like it.
Well, Lane also points out when worse comes to worse, you can throw the crystals and minerals at the person.
Yeah, seriously. One of the quickest ways to get rid of an energy vampire is to call them out. Go, you're icky. You're an energy vampire and you are sucking me dry. Now, they'll make you look like a liar. They'll make you look like the asshole of the group, but they'll leave you alone. Chuck a few crystals at them too. That'll cement it. Definitely. Now, the picture that you showed of the two people.
Yeah.
That is from what we do in the shadows. That
Oh,
is
okay.
a show that follows vampires in New York living together.
Yeah.
One of the vampires that lives with them is an energy vampire named
Mm,
Colin. That's
okay.
him on the left. Well, he met a woman at his work that started sucking his energy, and her name is Evie.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, it
That's
ended up
cool.
being a whole battle between energy
Yeah.
vampires. It was awesome.
She was good on SNL. I remember her.
Oh, she was hilarious. I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, take them seriously, guys. I know there's people that drag you down, but some of these people are doing it actively, and what they're doing is bad.
Here's a
Block them
picture of
out of
one.
your life. Cleanse yourself of them. Talk to Michelle.
Don't be friends with this person. That's what I'm saying. Well, Christy, first of all, thank you for doing
Yeah.
all that research. Second, I think there's a bunch of great information in there.
Yeah.
Of course, I do believe in energies. So this is hitting one of those kind of gray areas for me. I do think there's certain things we don't necessarily understand. Back to that point I was making about energy transfer, I do think that's a real thing. I don't know that it is literally that it is literally something physical between the two people, but there is certainly, I've lowered your gauge and that has raised mine. So I know there's some type of relatability aspect where that's happening. I don't know if it's supernatural or not.
Well, and I'm telling you, when you meet one of these people who are actively living their life this way, it's scary.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
scary to think that they would put that much thought into it.
Oh, and I know there's times, you know, if you've experienced people like this, like, you know, their eyes will look dead or black, like they're like hollow, like there's just nothing. It seems like there's nothing going on back there, almost in a weird way.
Yeah.
And also the points that you raised about the self-care stuff, that's just good stuff. Like that's just because even if there isn't a supernatural element, even if there isn't a direct connection of those energies like I'm talking about, that's still, even if it's at a minimum, a subliminal messaging to yourself about, oh, I did something to take care of myself, that should fill your meter as well in some way. But outside, just anytime you have intent like that, like I'm intending to do things that are going to protect me from people like this, I'm intending to do things that are going to make me healthier, stronger, that intent in itself does become an energy, becomes its own force.
Yes. Yes, it does.
So I love all that. I love this topic. We put it to the audience. Also just
Okay.
one other note. I unpinned it, so I can't remember who said it. Someone pointed out that Walmart is actually an energy vampire, but it's a good place to work in your steps. So another good tip for everyone out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Okay, we put it to the audience. Do EVs use superhuman means? 45% said yes, which means 55% said no. They sided with me, but like I said, I'm not in a position where I'm like really strongly opposed to it. There's a missing piece in the middle there that I can't rectify. And because of that, I do not feel comfortable taking the win for today. We're going to call this one a match. Yeah. And on top of that, it was just such good conversation with a bunch of good points. And I hope people think about this. Just honestly,
Definitely.
if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I wonder if that person that I have in my life, the answer is already yes. Like if you
Yes.
have that much of a trigger about it, the answer is yes. And just know
Yes.
that I know it's weird and hard. And especially if that person is like a family member or something like that, it could be really, like, you have to make some really hard, tough decisions that can sometimes cut against the grain of a lot of people's belief structures, even your own.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is freedom from that energy vampire or from that drain, from that weight. So,
Oh, and
yeah.
it feels so good when that weight's no longer there.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it is someone like that and you're like, well, no, I can't. It's, it's a parent or it's my sibling or something. Then maybe listen to those other steps about the self-care stuff. Create good boundaries for yourself. I learned like the
Boundaries.
best lesson for me was like when I was young, when I would go to visit family, there was always this pretense about like, well, you're staying with us, right? And very soon I was just like, no. I'm coming to see you, but I'm not going to stay with you. I'm going to get a hotel and I'll be nearby and we're going to still do everything that we always do. But at the end of the night, I'm going to go somewhere else. And just for my mental well-being, just knowing whatever arguments or stupid disagreements happened during the day just had so much less weight, because at the end of the night, I knew, oh, I'm hitting the escape hatch. I'm getting the heck out of here.
I won't have to be here anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I think there's a bunch of great information in that episode for people. And thank you so much for pulling that together.
Well, thank you.
Of course, thank you for watching. We appreciate you guys here that join us at Paranormal Perspective over on Studio 2. Please come again next week. We'll be here. And until then, see you on the other side.